feel great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.
Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. This is Immigration Answer Show episode 807. I'll be here for the next hour trying to answer as many immigration law related questions as I can. How's everybody doing? I just got back. Amr and I went over to Washington University in St. Louis, WashU as we call it around here, and I gave a talk to the international students at WashU, and we had a nice time. Nice people, good questions. I have a sort of a standard immigration talk that I give about how people can go from being international students to even a U.S. citizen if they want. So it was a good talk. I'll be here for the next hour, like I said, trying to answer your immigration law related questions. I say hello to everybody in the comments, all of our friends of the show. If you're new here, let us know in TikTok or in YouTube or Facebook where you're watching from. Leave us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. I see Raphael in Tampa. A lot of our favorites are here. Oh, Ms. Donna's here. Big ups to all the Yardies. We'll get Brianna on here one of these days, Donna. I hope you and Ryan are doing well. Give him my best. And hello to Phoenix and all the other Yardies and everybody else who's watching. So I'm going to get started here in a minute. I'm going to talk to Courtney, and then if Precious turns off their camera, I'll talk to Precious and then ABCC. So I got Courtney, Precious, and ABCC, and then we'll do some TikTok. Hello, Courtney.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Can you hear me pretty good?
It's a little quiet, but go ahead.
Okay. So I have a couple questions, please. It's regarding the H-1B.
Okay.
Thankfully, I got selected, which is great. However,
Hello. Go ahead. Come on.
hi. Okay, my bad. So first
H-1B.
question, if my degree, like my bachelor's degree, is the title is not the same as like the position,
What is the
but
position? What is the position?
accounting, or then my bachelor's is a business and international business. Like I have a focus in accounting.
A focus? What does a focus mean? You took some classes?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say. I've had this case. I had them try to deny a case for someone who actually had a. Can you please stop moving those papers? He actually had someone who had a degree in accounting, and they pushed back on an H-1B. So I think that you're right to be worried. I think they might give you a hard time.
Okay. What's usually like the way to prove up that or to support that?
Well, you know, the big question is: this a big sophisticated company, or is this a company that hasn't done many H-1Bs?
Yeah, first time doing it.
And did they use a lawyer?
We've been consulting, but they don't want to.
Yeah, because it's going to be a tough case. It's going to be a tough case. It's probably going to get denied, and the employer's going to spend a lot of money trying to get that approved. But if you don't have a degree in accounting, I mean, accounting is listed as a specialty occupation, but it's certainly worth a shot. I would definitely go ahead and try, but I wouldn't get my hopes up that it's going to be approved.
Okay. And then final question, for the adjustment, my OPT ends in June. Is it, assuming it's going to be approved, is that advisable to like go home and get it renewed, or like do you have to do the switch over while in the United States?
Sure. So what'll happen is if it gets approved, then in October, USCIS will send your employer a new I-94, and that'll be proof of your status. So if you leave the United States, you'll have to go to an embassy to get a stamp. But I would urge you not to leave the United States until things settle down with Trump.
So what about that period between when the OPT ends in October?
Yeah. So what'll happen is at some point soon, you should go talk to your employee or talk to your international student advisor and tell them that you got selected in the H-1B, show them proof of that, and they should issue you a new I-20. I don't know if they'll issue it before you get approved, or I think they'll issue it now. I just don't know. It depends how the schools handle it. I just don't know.
A new I-20 based on what?
I'm being selected.
Oh, I didn't know that was possible.
They'll
Okay.
give you an I-20 through September 30th. Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Good luck, Courtney.
Thank
All right. Let's talk to Precious. Hello.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm so grateful to be asking you questions. I'm always here, but didn't know how to enter the chat room.
Well, you got in early today. You were the second person, so good work.
I was very early.
What can I help you with?
Okay, Jimmy, I came to United States, precisely Georgia. I'm a South African on B1, B2 visa.
Okay.
Then it happened that I got a partner, and then we got married in the state county in the courts. And then after getting married, we tried doing it ourselves. And then the forms that we filled was 485 and then 765. And then we got a response from UICIS saying that they rejected, and then they wrote 797C notice of action. And then when we called them to ask, they said there are things that were short. Then upon researching, I realized that we didn't put I-130, I-130A, and then 693, which is the medical, and 864. So I want to just to be sure if those are all the required documents. Are they now correct? Because my fear is to send it back to them and then it's not correct. That's the first question. And the second one is my tourist visa was supposed to expire according to form the paper I-94. It's supposed to expire on the on May the 3rd of this year. So, and then they put a green form on those rejection documents. They said the money we put was more than what we're supposed to required for the forms we filled up for, and then we need to add. So now I want to be sure if these document I-130, I-130A, 485, 765, 693, 864 are the only required documents. And also, if now we are resending this document with the file that they put on top, the green one of rejection, they said when we're sending it back, we need to put that form on top. Will I not be overstaying since my I-94 is expiring on the 3rd of May? And then with medical, I went to the immigration doctor. The other problem was I'm currently pregnant and then I can't take some of the vaccine. But my doctor did write a letter for me to take it to the immigration doctor with regards to the I-693 to say that I can't take those vaccine. And they did accept it. They said there is where they can write that I'm currently pregnant, I can't take. So that one is phased out. But I just want to be sure that these forms that I've mentioned, are they the required one or there's something extra that I need to add, as well as will it not affect, will I not overstay since my I-94 is expiring on May the 3rd?
I'm going to answer your question, but then I have a bunch of questions of my own, okay?
Okay, no problem.
So my answer is you have now identified all the forms that you should have submitted the first time. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what happened to the filing fee for the 485?
They sent it back. They sent the check it back, everything, because they said the money was above. So we need to adjust and put money according to each form. So the money was back, and then we need to send it back.
Okay. Is this your first time being in the United States?
Yes, it is my first time.
And is the person that you married a U.S. citizen?
Yes, he is an American citizen.
And before you came to the United States, did you know who that person was?
Yes, I knew he was my friend because even when I did my visa, because I was living in Saudi Arabia working there, even when I did my visa to come here, they did ask, and I did tell them that I'm visiting a friend.
Okay. And did they ask you anything specific about the friend?
They asked how we met. Then I told them because the person had visited my country before. I knew him and his family. We were friends before coming here.
So the person that you married, you knew in South Africa?
No, his brother works for the US Embassy. So he used to visit his brother in South Africa because he's deployed there. So I knew the entire family because I used to travel as well, although not to US.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me about when you came through customs, what happened?
When I came through customs, they just checked my passport. I think they were checking my visa if it's valid. Then they let me pass through. They never asked any question. Because even with this I-94, I got it on the internet when I was looking because there's a question, I think on I-130, which asks about this I-94. So I got it from the internet. It was not done at the point of entry. They never asked me any questions.
When did you enter the United States?
I entered on the 4th of November last year.
And did you go stay at your friend's house that night?
Yes, I did from day one. And that's what I wrote when applying for the visa, that he will be the one to accommodate me for my stay.
Good. And then what's the date of your marriage?
It's the 31st of December last year.
So you got married within 60 days of arrival.
No, I arrived on the 4th of November. Then I got married on the 31st of December. And that's when I found out that I was pregnant.
Yeah, but that's less than 60 days.
Yes.
So that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If you enter the United States on a B1, B2 and get married within the first 60 days, then they think you had immigrant intent and you misrepresented your purpose for coming on the non-immigrant visa. Now, can we prove that you found out you were pregnant right before you got married?
Yes, because there are the medical reports which states that I got married towards the end of November, and then that stays when I'm due. So everything from the doctor is there that I got married. I got pregnant while I was here.
So I was a little bit worried about you coming and moving in with him right when you got here. I'm extra concerned now that you got married
Yes.
less than 60 days because you have to prove it at a higher level of higher proof. You have to show that you didn't have that intent, and that's going to take some work. So, and then the last thing I want to emphasize is you've listed out the forms that you need, but you need a whole lot of evidence in support of the case. You have to prove the marriage, and you have to prove the relationship, and you have to prove that you didn't sneak your way into the United States. So I think there's a lot of problems.
So now I'm proving if the marriage is bona fide, or I'm mainly proving that I didn't come here for the intent of getting married.
Both. And I think the fact that you moved in with him the day you got here, it's good you said you came to see a friend, but at the same time, you didn't say, I'm coming to live with somebody that I'm probably going to marry 55 days after I arrive.
That was not the plan.
Well, my friend, now that's what you have to prove. I believe you.
Yeah.
Now you have to prove it.
Is it possible if I prove it with my current job that I was doing? Because currently I'm not working and I left a very good job where I was.
That's good evidence.
Yeah.
But I think you need help. The fact, no offense, but the fact that you sent in a 45 without the right forms, that tells me that you probably need a lawyer's help.
Yes.
Just knowing the names of the forms and what forms to file, that's like the bare minimum. That's the cost of entry. But you've got a high burden on your hands now, and everything I'm saying would have been true under Biden, but it's a whole different thing now. All right, Precious, good luck. Let us know if you need any help, okay?
Okay, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to ABCC, and then we'll go to Veer, and then Still Confused. Hello, ABCC.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm actually calling for a friend of mine.
Great.
She is a trans woman, and she's actually going to be applying for her citizenship in a couple of years. The question to you is regards her driver's license. It currently states that she's a female. So do you see that she could possibly have a problem by making misrepresentation? Like I'm reading the N400, and it says misrepresentation to any U.S. government official.
Yeah.
So think to us, yeah. So That's
I
my
would
question.
say number one, this stuff's probably all going to be litigated before they apply for citizenship. Number two, there's no misrepresentation if they just walk through the history of their gender, right? So,
Correct.
like if I was their attorney, I'd probably leave that box blank because by the time that rolls around, it'll only be M or F. So I would imagine that what we would do is leave that blank, and then there's a place where you can do explanations, and I would say I was born X and now I'm Y, or however it is, and I'd walk them through why some of my identity documents say M and some of my identity documents say F.
Okay. Okay.
So,
All right.
so then there's no misrepresentations when you hide something. So she's not going to be hiding anything. She's just, it's because these guys are from the 1950s, the forms don't reflect the way things are today.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, ABCC. See ya. All right. We'll go to Veer and then Still Confused. Hello. Oh, yeah, we got to go over to TikTok after that.
Hey, Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good. I hear you well. Amany would yell at me if I said, I hear you good. I hear you well.
All right, thank you. So
Sure.
I have a question. So I've talked to you a couple of times. I filed I-485, I-765, I-131, all the documents for my wife. Now, she got her biometrics appointment yesterday. We did that. And after the biometrics appointment, there was an email for the case status update that she got. And once we logged in and checked, it showed that step 1, receipt notice, completed. Step 2, biometrics, completed. Step 3, attend interview, if necessary, was also completed and checkmarked. And then it was at step 4, which said case decision. So does that mean that the interview has been waived off, if I'm looking at it right?
Seems like it.
Okay. I mean, because I was confused that they might just give me a 797 and say that interview scheduled, but it says completed. So I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Sounds like they waived the interview.
Sorry, was that?
It sounds like they waived the interview.
Okay. So that means that we would just be waiting for them to make a decision on the case. And
I mean, I don't put much stock in what they put on the online portal, but based on what you're saying to me, it sounds like her case has been approved. I just don't know. It's probably wrong. So you just gotta sit tight. You can't read too much into that stuff.
yeah.
I mean, as I often say, the only thing that matters is when you have the green card in your hand or the work card, right?
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah, because we were excited, but then I told my wife not to be so excited. I told
I'd
her
be a little,
that
I'd be a little excited. It's better than other things you can read on the portal.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the only question that I had.
All right. Well, if her green card shows up on Friday, call us. I mean, whenever it comes, let us know. I'd be interested to hear the actual timeline when all is said and done.
For sure. I will definitely join the call back.
Thanks, Veer.
Thank you so much, Jim. Bye-bye.
Yeah, for sure. This is the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. I'm wearing my sweater today. I actually dressed up for all you fools. How you guys doing? I did cuss a few times in my talk at WashU today. I asked ahead of time if that would be okay, but they said yes. Let's see if Hina's compiled some. Oh, looks like Hina's been busy. Jose769, is it true that they're not approving AP anymore? I assume that Jose means that they're not approving DACA advanced parole. We've heard some news stories of that. We haven't heard an official proclamation of that, so we'll just have to wait and see, Jose. Our friends sent their client out on advanced parole, and it turns out he had a removal order. Somehow they were able to get him back in the United States because they're kick-ass lawyers. That's my friend Michael and Rekha Sharma Crawford over in Kansas City. Inderjit, can I get a green card with 2 DUIs? Maybe. I don't know about these days. Could be tough. A green card is a matter of discretion, not a matter of right. King Salvi Money. When it comes to the 5 years of good moral character, does the 5 years have a specific date, or does it begin the first date of the 5 years to apply for N400? No, it's backwards looking, King Salvi. So let's say you filed on my birthday, September 13th, 2025. Then you'd have to look back September 13th, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. So since September 13th, 2020, do you have no criminal convictions? Have you shown good moral character in the 5 years prior to you filing? Now, they can still go ahead and look at other things, other factors from before that, but that's the statutory period for the look back. Turtle says, I've just received a selective service in the mail. I have a pending green card application. Do I respond? If you're under 26 and you're in the United States and you get your green card, you're supposed to apply for selective service, if that makes sense. So let's wait and see when you get your green card, if you're 26 or not. Carlos, here's a hypothetical. If a person came in legally but overstayed, DACA is frozen. If I work, will it be forgiven? Married to a citizen? Yes, that would be forgiven. I don't know about DACA being frozen. Maybe that means they can't renew it or something. But yes, if someone overstayed a visa and worked without authorization, if the marriage I-130 is approved, then the working without authorization would be forgiven as long as they were honest about it. Antonia asks, why the I-130 interview letter stating to bring an up-to-date W-2? Well, I guess they want to make sure you're working or that the sponsor's working. Marley Day, can I get approved for emergency AP for dental work for our wedding? Probably not. Good luck, Marley. I think they'd probably tell you to find a dentist here. Make America great again. Yeah, it says not on DACA. That's fine. It doesn't matter. I don't think anyone would consider that an emergency, Marley. I'm sorry. Nadia, I'm a citizen and I applied for my husband's I-130, but he left and is still using my address. What can I do? Well, I would most likely probably want to withdraw that I-130 and notify USCIS. All right, let's go to Still Confused. Jay, Still Confused. Hello.
Hi, Mr. Jim. Thank you so much for taking my call, and thank you so much for everything that you're doing for the community. I just have a few questions. I know I filed my case with a lawyer, but it still doesn't hurt if I ask for a second opinion, right?
Sure, of course. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sorry. I came in with a J1 visa back in 2021, and during my senior year, I got married to my U.S. citizen spouse. Now, before my visa was expired, I was able to talk to a lawyer, and then they filed for my waiver because I have the 212E rule, which means I need to go home after graduating. And I have that 2 years now. I had applied the I-612 waiver, so it can be waived. And then recently, just this January, because I told my lawyer I'm so scared because I don't have anything to prove that I can stay here with my U.S. citizen spouse if I only have my waiver application. So they filed my I-130 petition. But my only question is, every time I try to ask or maybe push a little bit with my I-485 application, he said that it's not gonna work because I still have my I-612 waiver pending. So what advice can you give me, or is it safe to just go on, especially with what's happening right now?
So what's your current status?
I'm actually out of status now.
So I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay?
Okay.
Back when I was a baby immigration lawyer and didn't know everything that I know now, I once filed a green card application before the 6112 was approved. Actually, I don't think I filed it. I think I just took over for the interview, but it had been filed, and we got the approval on the 612 like the week of the interview. Like, we got really lucky. And I remember this officer who had been there a long time at that point and is still there said to me, "You've got a big set of balls filing that green card case without the 612 being approved."
Yeah.
So it's a tough call, because if you were on a valid F1 status or something, then I think it's a no-brainer. You wait for the 612. How long has the 612 been pending?
So it's almost 9 months now. It was submitted last year, August.
Did you get the no objection letter?
Nope. So far, all I got was the receipt notice together with my I-130.
So the big question for me, there's two things I always want to think about when someone asks me about getting the 212E waiver. Okay, do you want to know what those are?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The first is who paid for your funding for school? So it's not, so some J1s are like you come and you work in a hotel, and then other people come and you're like doing a Fulbright scholarship and you're a freaking genius and you're supposed to take that expertise back to your home country.
Yes. So my schooling was it was a private scholarship and then a personal money.
Okay. So you know how on the DS 2019 it'll say sort of how much all that funding is going to cost? Do you have any sense as to how much that was?
I believe it's around $40,000.
That's not too bad. Okay. So that's one big question. So that makes me feel a little bit better. And then the other one is I would imagine that you've reached out or looked online for people from your same home country.
Yes, sir.
And to find out if this is something like Brazil gives this shit out like candy, but Egypt fights like hell, right? So do you know sort of which end of the spectrum your country does? Like, what do you hear from other people?
So back in 2022, like an older student who also got married to a US citizen tried to file for the waiver using a no objection statement.
Yeah.
But right now, our country is not providing that anymore. So based on my experience with other older students who got married to a US citizen, all they did was file for the waiver using exceptional hardship.
And is that what you did?
Yes, because my spouse, US citizen spouse, is still a student. So even if they want me to go back to my home country, my husband needs to come with me so that we can prove that our marriage is not fraud, because we just got married last year too.
This will sound like a crazy question.
Yes.
But is there any way you could pay the 40,000 back?
Yes. So actually, if the scholarship, I signed a contract that if I am not going back to my home country, I will be paying a certain amount that they already sent me, and I have like 7 years to pay for that, but it's not the whole 40,000 amount.
I mean, usually again, it depends on who's doing the funding, but a lot of times if they feel like the money's getting paid, that makes them, but it sounds like you're not going no objection anyway. So I think that's just sort of it. So, would exceptional hardship be anything beyond the fact that he's a college student? Like, does he have any health issues or anything?
Yes. So actually, both of us have like a mental health issue, but other than that, we don't have any medical issues. I mean, I might have one that I can get soon, but right now, because money is short and we're still paying our lawyer, so we don't really have that extra money to go to the hospital, especially I don't have any insurance.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for us to like find another attorney for a second opinion. That's why I'm so grateful that you're doing it.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'll say a couple of other things. Number one is it sounds like you're not going to get your green card unless that 612 gets approved. Right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So if money's tight, then maybe not filing the 45 is the right play. Obviously, from an immigration standpoint, I'd love for you to have your 485 on file.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And your spouse is a U.S. citizen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I were in charge of things, it's hard for me to criticize what your attorney's approach, right?
Yeah, so he's just scared because right now with all the things that they're saying, that once your application denied,
you're going to removal. Yeah, and I'll throw one other thing out there too that gives me pause and makes me sort of side with your attorney a little bit more.
Yes.
And that is, I don't know if you were listening to the show yesterday, but we had two people back to back who filed for their green cards and they got an interview like 2 months later.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, I honestly think that usually when that happens, it's because they're trying to screw people. And if you haven't submitted your 612 yet, if you haven't, if you don't have the waiver approved yet, they'll know you don't have the approved yet because they're the ones who are approving it, right?
Yes.
And the officer who does your green card, they're not the ones who are going to decide whether or not you get that waiver. So I think that I can't tell you what to do, but all things being said, I think your attorney's on the right track.
Gotcha. Okay, Sir Jim. It's just that I've been wanting to work for a long time, and being like my husband, he's still a student, and I'm like, I really need to work, but I can't get that work permit if my I-485 is not, you
Right.
know.
This is just example number 12,853 about why our immigration policies are stupid, because
Mhm.
everybody would benefit if you were working.
Yeah.
Everyone would benefit.
Okay, Sir Jim. Thank you so much for
Right,
your.
you got it. Thanks for the call. That was a good call.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
You got it. Yeah, that 212E is a pesky beast, that waiver or that requirement that you go back home for 2 years at the end of your studies. I have a question. I'll open it up for the chat. This is Han Solo, and this is Han Solo. So yes, I still play with my Star Wars characters. Now this is Hoth Han Solo. This is Greedo. So for those of you who know in Star Wars lore, that when they first filmed Star Wars, it appeared that Han Solo shot Greedo just upon being identified as Han Solo. And then later on, they recut it and they made Greedo maybe shoot first. So my question is, who shot first, Han or Greedo? Now, I had the best OG Greedo. This is not the OG Greedo. This is like a backup Greedo. I had the best Greedo when I was a kid. My sister buried it in the sand at Lake Michigan up in, what is that city they live? Not Winnetka, not Waukegan. Wilmette. We were at the beach in Wilmette, right? And so Carrie built it. Now, if you guys were listening to the show a couple Saturdays ago, my sister Carrie showed up, and I thought the microphone was off. The show was over, and she was bitching and moaning, as she always does, about how my parents kept my Star Wars stuff, which is all back there and there. That's my Millennium Falcon right there, and that's my land speeder right there. That's my OG land speeder from like 1978. And that's my little Cloud City thing without the roofs they're missing. She was complaining that they kept all my Star Wars stuff, but they got rid of Carrie's Barbie dolls. And Han is my favorite too, and I'm loving 1923. I have to watch the finale probably tonight if I can stay awake. I've been going to the gym at 4, so I've been falling asleep. But Han and Harrison Ford is the best. My Millennium Falcon does not play music. I don't know. I haven't put batteries in there in a while. It's pretty beat up. Yeah, Hina was freaking out because she could hear the whole conversation. Yeah, Carrie's still bitter. And for the record, I may or may not have shaved the heads of all of my sister's Barbie dolls. I think that's technically true with those little kid scissors, you know. This is the kind of brilliant discourse we talk about here on the Immigration Answers Show. Again, my name is Jim Hacking. We got about 20 minutes left, so we should get back to it. I'm going to talk to Tom J, then VK, and then we'll probably get some more questions from TikTok. Hello, Tom. You're on mute.
Hey, Jem, how are you?
Great, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great. I have a quick questions. I got my card approved and it got lost on the mail. So I haven't received my green card. So what should I do?
Okay, so first of all, we know that USCIS sent it, right?
Yeah, it's showing like sent and the tell back on their website that has been arrived and has been delivered, but I haven't received anything.
Did you move it? Did you move it all when after filing?
No.
You're breaking up a little bit. So you're at the same address as when you started.
Yeah, that's correct. I always get my notice and all of the signatures.
Have you talked to the post office and have you talked to USCIS?
Yeah, I gave them a call and they gave me a letter that they lost the package, and they said you can just give them that approve that we lost the package and they will replace it for you.
Who gave you the letter? State Department or USCIS?
The post office.
Okay. So yeah, you just got to file a new I-90. That's all you can do. I mean, it might be worth checking at your local post office. Sometimes it's stuck there at the local office, and it's worth a call to USCIS just to see if it came back. I know it sounds like a long shot, but an I-90 is going to take another year.
Wow, that's more than okay. Well, I think I will have to fight back with them again.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, that sucks. You wait all that time for a green card, and then they send it to the wrong place. VK is here. Hello.
Hey Jim, how you doing?
Great, buddy.
First of all, I want to say thank you for what you do. It's a great help for everyone.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So a little bit about my case. I'm a F1 student, and I got to the first time I got to US was December 2020, and my recent entry is January 1st, 2025, and I got married to a US citizen on March 8th, 2025. So it's past that 60 days deadline, but if I file my green card now, is that a problem or?
What are you waiting for?
I'm just like, we are getting some paperwork changing my wife's name on like different documents and adding me to because she owns a house and she wanna add me to the house deed. So we are like, okay, that can be a good evidence if we file our green card.
When does your status run out?
So I still have F1 status and it's gonna go out in November.
You mean your visa stamp is going to go out, or you're going to be done with school in November?
So my visa stamp gonna go out in November.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yep, I still have like active I-20.
Yeah, so just keep doing your thing, maintain your status, and then file when you're ready.
Okay, and I have one more thing because like, so she went to India and like her family also went to India in December, like last year when I went there, December 2024. And we had like a Indian wedding ceremony. So, and then we come back together. So is that gonna be a problem? Like, because I wasn't asked anything about the CBP, but if I file a green card now, it's gonna be a problem or?
Was it recorded in the courts or anything in India, or no?
No, it was not like recorded. It was just a ceremony.
I think you might have to explain it about your interaction with CBP at your interview, but it should be okay.
Okay, and another thing, like we have some evidence, like booking the event place and those things from 2024. So can I put them as a evidence, like my bona fide marriage evidence, or?
If you have lots of other stuff, I might leave that out. That might confuse them, but you just got to make clear what it was.
Yeah, if like I was thinking, if I put evidence from like last year, they will be like, okay, you were planning the wedding last year and then you entered United States in January.
It's not like you entered on a visit. You've been here for a while as a student, so and you're still going to class. So I'm not that worried about that.
Okay. And I was like filling out my I-485, and they're like, and this and different questions. So they ask like physical address history for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So do you think like, should I mention that I've been to India, like should I mention those short trips, like a 1 month trip on my physical address history or not?
No. Nope.
Okay, and I also had like a $100 traffic fine. So should I mention that on I-485 or?
Of course.
Okay. And another thing related to the address thing, that my like from where I come from, India, it's like a very small village and it don't have like a street name or street address. So should I leave it blank and provide an explanation that there is no street name or address in this village?
Yeah. Yeah, we've had that before.
And I have one more question for you. So I'm like a graduate student, so I'm on a graduate research assistantship. So that's kind of like a employment. I get my W-2s and I file taxes and everything. And I-485 asks for like your employment history and school. So like, should I mention as a employment history, or should I mention that as like a school which I'm attending, or both?
Both.
Okay. And like I'm also part of different like student organization, like different academic societies. So do they need to be mentioned on I-485 or?
Yes.
Okay, yep. These were all my short questions, and thank you very much.
Good luck, VKC, buddy.
Thank you.
You got it. Borchel's giving advice. Absolutely mention any trips abroad. He didn't ask about trips abroad. He asked about his residence, whether he was residing in India for a month. No, he wasn't. He was on vacation. Grace Note, hello.
Hi, Jim. Thank you for having me today.
Sure,
My
hi.
question's a little different than what you normally get, but I think it's important enough to possibly even make a separate video elaborating on the subject. I
Nice. Let's do it.
appreciated your comment on yesterday's show about how some of us care too much or too little about their immigration case. I'm
Yeah.
a chicken little, like the sky is falling, but that schema came from my experience with a writ of mandamus lawsuit for my husband during the first Trump term. Thanks to your fantastic law firm, by the way. This
Nice.
year in November, we'll be applying for his naturalization. My question isn't about his case, but how my actions as a citizen could affect my husband's future filing and his current status as a permanent green card holder. Under normal circumstances, I know I have broad rights for free speech when it comes to political commentary. For years, I've kept my head down and a low profile on social media, but I don't want to sit on the sidelines like I'm powerless. I have 3 main actions I want to pass by you and get your professional and personal opinion on. Firstly, I attended the Hands Off protest last Saturday and plan on attending the next mass protest on April 19th and so forth, as long as it takes. But I protested incognito, covering my face, wearing a handmaid's outfit. Is this as far as I should participate in public protest? Is it safe for me to sign up or volunteer as leadership in a local chapter of Indivisible? Secondly, I have an interfaith family, and I wish to organize a breaking bread picnic in my hometown to bring the community together. While this is not a political act, it is a form of protest, and I would be putting my family into the public eye. My final action is what I'm most passionate about, but also the most concerned about. For months, I've been creating illustrations of political commentary. A prime example of these is a scene out of Dickens' Christmas Carol, where Trump is awoke by the ghosts of Christmas past, Epstein, the ghost of Christmas present, Elon Musk, and the ghost of Christmas future, Putin. I've kept them to myself, but now I want to sell my illustrations on t-shirts through a third-party print-on-demand company. If I can raise enough capital, I want to start a day camp for the arts in my hometown, like I volunteered at in college. I don't think these actions are radical, but I wanted to mind sweep the territory before I go cause some good trouble.
I think you're a beautiful person.
Thank you.
And thanks for writing down your questions, and thanks for the shout out on the mandamus. I'm glad that it worked. Is your husband from an Arab country?
Yes.
Yeah. I would say that, okay. We're gonna answer this one a little bit differently, and I'm really glad you called and asked this. Okay, we're gonna have Jim talk about what you should do or think, and the other would be Amany, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife is Amany, and so she's much more conservative than I am, and I like to just say, "Oh, fuck those guys. We're gonna do what we want," right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of what my gut says. Like, I'm here saying, man, I'll represent her for free if they fuck with her husband for what she's doing in public, exercising her First Amendment rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I would say. Now, Amany would want us to be more conservative, and I think I'll ask her, and maybe I'll even talk about it on tomorrow's show. But I think she'd want you to be a little bit more circumspect. I think going in protests and showing your face is okay. And now, this is all assuming that things don't devolve, right? Now things might devolve, and I think the people that underestimate that do so at their peril. So, I mean, not to sound alarmist, but Trump was talking yesterday about deporting U.S. citizens to El Salvador, right? So, do I think that's going to happen? No. Do I think that if they deny? I mean, the nice thing about naturalization, I would say, if he were overseas applying for a visa, then I'd be more circumspect with it. But with citizenship, like if they deny his citizenship, he has the right to an administrative appeal. And after that, he has the right to go to federal court. So it might take a little long. I mean, do I think the chances of him getting in any trouble because of stuff you did related to the First Amendment? I think the chances of that are extremely low. So let's say it's 3%.
Mhm.
Now, I often say that we should all be concerned about things that have a 3% chance if the consequences are severe. But I think we win either. I mean, if they put in writing that they were denying your husband's citizenship because of comments you made about Donald Trump, I mean, I think that loses in federal court, and a judge is going to laugh them out of court, and I don't think they'd ever try to defend it in court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've done these actions I specifically chose them mostly because they didn't involve my husband, except for if I did that picnic.
Yeah,
but
the picnic, I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, in your opinion, I could still go get it, and I have my rights. And
yeah. Now the interesting thing is, let's say it wasn't you calling. Let's say it was your husband calling.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, I would be more conservative. Like, I was surprised to say in a talk at WashU today that international students need to scrub their social media and be careful about what they say if they don't want Marco Rubio revoking their right to be here.
Yeah.
So if your husband were calling me saying, "Hey Jim, I've got this crazy wife and she wants me to do all this First Amendment stuff with her. Should I do it?" I'd say, then I would probably lean more towards Amany's side of things.
And I know he's not really participating in any of those radical things that I'm planning.
Yeah, I would say, whenever he can apply for citizenship, then after that, he can do it all he wants.
Okay. So is there anything weird about like me with those political commentary things wanting to make money off of them? Like, does that get me in a different weird vibe when it comes to First Amendment rights?
That's a good question. And the question is whether that would be considered commercial speech, or even commercial speech is heavily protected.
Uh-huh.
The only way you get in trouble with commercial speech generally is if if the defendant or the people who are complaining about your speech say that you have malice and that you had knowledge that the things you were saying were false. So something like that, that's just art. That's what you're talking about is pure speech. The fact that you make money off of it, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, stay in touch. Keep me posted, okay?
I will. I'll send you a t-shirt if it works.
Yeah, and you know how to get a hold of me, so
Absolutely.
I meant it when I said stay in touch. Thanks.
Yep. Take care.
All right, that was Grace. Where'd Ray go? I was going to go to Ray. Looks like Ray's gone. Ray got sick. Oh, there's Ray. Ray, turn off your camera. I'll pull you up. All right, I'm going to do Ray, and then I'll hit the comments from TikTok. Ray, go.
Hello, Mr. Jim. Good afternoon. How are you today?
You're not driving, are you?
Oh no, I'm on a parking lot.
Okay, great. What's up?
Yeah, I had some few questions regarding the CBP questioning, secondary questioning that's been going on in the airport. So I have a family. I'm speaking on behalf of someone, I'm a family member who has traveled outside of the U.S. and they are planning to return. It's not going to be a lengthy stay. It's almost like 3.5 months. They are 10-year green card holder, and they're returning back to U.S. And they do not have any kind of criminal record, not even a traffic ticket. And he's been married. He's gotten his green card through marriage, and the marriage didn't work out. They ended up getting divorced, and suddenly he decided to visit his home country, to visit a family member. And upon arriving, is there any kind of concern? Is there anything he should be concerned about being questioned by CBP?
Well, I mean, most likely the person will be allowed into the United States. Do we have any thoughts that the spouse would have sent them a letter and said, "That son of a bitch only married me to get a green card"?
No, it's not. We have he has judgment of divorce and everything legally played out. So it's nothing like that.
Actually, you didn't answer my question.
No, he doesn't. Nothing filed like that.
Well, first of all,
It was a legal marriage. The marriage didn't work out, so they ended up getting divorced.
You're not listening to me.
Yes, go ahead.
Sometimes when an immigrant gets a green card and gets divorced from the U.S. citizen, the U.S. citizen is pissed. And the U.S. citizen sends a letter to immigrant. There's people on the show just today, somebody wanted to do that. the U.S. citizen sends a letter to USCIS and says, that son of a bitch only married me to get a green card. And what I'm asking is, do you think there's a chance that this person's spouse did that?
I don't think there's a chance for that.
But they don't know.
No.
So, I mean, hopefully they'll have no problem coming in. You said
Right.
they got their green card. How long were they married?
They were married about 3 years.
How long after the green card did somebody start talking about divorce?
About I think year and a half. Year and a half.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Should be fine. I mean, the person doesn't have a choice. They have to come back, right? So,
Yeah.
just fingers crossed, right?
Right.
Tell them not to sign anything. Tell them not to give up their rights to their green card. Tell them they want to see a judge if anybody gives them any grief, and they can fuck off.
Right. The thing is, he doesn't have any criminal charges. It's just
That
that,
doesn't mean anything.
and it's just a divorce that happened, and it was a formal divorce. They have a judgment of divorce from the lawyer, from the judge.
What country did he go back to?
Bangladesh.
And did he get married or anything while he was back?
He initially he went to go see his mother. Then his mother wanted him to get married. Eventually, he got married over there. So he's returning back.
That was really fucking stupid.
Okay.
That was really dumb. Because they're going to say that was his real spouse the whole time, that he just came here to get a green card. And then as soon as he could, he got divorced. And then he went back home to Bangladesh, allegedly to see his mother, but really to get married.
Right.
Ding dong.
So is there going to be issue on that situation?
Well, let's do it like this. Let's say that I'm the officer and he asked that person all those questions that I just said. He's going to look really bad.
Right. So what can we do? I mean, are these the questions they're going to be asking?
If I was a mean CBP official and I wanted to screw with someone, these are the questions I would be asking.
Okay. I mean, is it when
this idea, well, he doesn't have any traffic tickets and no crimes, he's going to have no problem. I mean, I'm trying to make a point here, Ray, through your friend's situation, right? I'm not mad at him or mad at you. I'm just trying to teach everybody listening that sometimes people take an overly simplistic view of what the reality of their situation is. But man, getting married, I mean, so I would assume this was his first trip back to Bangladesh since he got his green card.
Right.
And he got married on that trip. I mean, not good. I mean, here's another question.
Mm-hmm.
The person that he married, did he know them before he came to the United States?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was a family friend.
PU, dude. PU. This case stinks, and you were framing it as if there's no problem at all. Stupid.
Okay.
Stupid. Just totally created a situation that was completely unnecessary. And the things that I'm saying would have been true whether Kamala won or Trump won. This was dumb.
Okay.
All right. Good luck to your friend, Ray. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
My man says, everything's fine. You don't have any traffic tickets. You don't have any crimes. All right, here we go. We're going to knock this out. Epic moment. What does that mean, please? Request for additional evidence was sent. Letter from USCIS. That means they are not satisfied. You have not satisfied your burden of proving that you're entitled to the immigration benefit sought, and they're asking you for more stuff. GG. Does the 60-day rule apply to me if I work on a TN visa for more than a year but reside in Canada? It depends if you're going to apply for adjustment or not. That's the whole thing, GG. Are you applying for adjustment? Are you going to try to do it all here? Did you enter on your TN or whatever and then get married within 60 days of arrival? Jim, can you address the new 998 daily fine? No, I don't pay attention to Trump's stupid shit. Until it's a real thing, I'll talk about it. Million, I'm married to a U.S. citizen, waiting on my 751 approval. Can I apply for citizenship? Been married for 5 years. You can and you should. That's what's going to get the 751 moving, Million. I would say yes. I've been waiting on my 751, and this is Mo, N400 interview since March 23, 2024, Dallas field office. What could be the reason for the delay? The field office keeps saying there's nothing they can do until the service center approves the I-751. Sue and Mo, that's what I would do. You can get both those things moving. B-Man, in the N400 application, I have 2 stepchildren above 18. Do I add them? Yes. No downside to adding them. Laura Muller, if I live with my spouse's parents and we don't pay rent, how do we prove that? That's tough. Those are tough situations. You're going to need a lot more marital evidence. You might want to have some kind of written agreement and affidavits from your spouse's parents talking about how you document. I mean, you're going to need to document the relationship. You're going to need to document that they know you, that you live there, all that stuff. It's going to be tricky without a lease. Vern's British. If someone makes an error on their I-130 and they have an interview in a month, can it be fixed? Should it be fixed before the interview or at the interview? So what I say is look up my video, Vern's, on errata sheet, type up the correct answers, and after the officer introduces themselves, hand it to them and say, there are mistakes on a couple of the questions. I wanted to make sure before you even start that you have the right answers here in your hand. MJM, can I apply for an N400 with a felony? Anybody can apply for an N400. Whether you should is a different question. Whether you should depends on the felony, depends on the sentence, depends on when that happened. All right, everybody, that'll do it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's see, what's today? I keep thinking today's Wednesday or Thursday. Tomorrow's show, I'm doing a big webinar tomorrow. So I may or may not do a show tomorrow. If I do, it could be 3 o'clock. It could be 3:30. It might even be 7 at night tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I got a long webinar tomorrow. Jesus, a 2-hour webinar, but it's with another lawyer. So should be good. But I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back on TikTok, maybe on TikTok. If you want to make sure to be able to ask me a question or get in the waiting room, 314-470-3300, text the word show. Text the word show and we'll be back. Donna says, Jim, the whole world is in trouble. That's true. All right, everybody. Yeah, I'm going to try. I'll see. Maybe I will. What does Nor have tomorrow at 7? Oh, yeah. Oh, that could be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll just do it tomorrow at 7 because Nor has a lesson, math tutoring lesson. Hope you guys all have a great night. Hina, you can book that one for 7 tomorrow, and we'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.
I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion.